What's up guys, this is Sunil here again and hope you guys are doing super well. Today was an amazing day. So these are the few things I learned today. So what is BOM, what is DOM, and what is the difference between two? So for fun I call it BOM and DOM, but BOM stands for BOM stands for Browser Object Model and DOM stands for Document Object Model. So what is the difference between two? So Browser Object Model is more about the interaction or like working out with your browser, whereas DOM is more about working out with your web pages, between like a JavaScript and HTMLs. And the primary object in BOM is the window object, and to use it you don't necessarily need to explicitly mention it, like window dot. Let's say you want to use dot alert, you can use just dot alert, directly write down dot alert. You don't have to explicitly do window dot alert, you can just do dot alert. So but if you want to, for readability reasons, or for you just want to do it for making sure that the site is easy to read, you can choose to do it as well. It will still work. So other thing I learned is how to execute JS on the page. So basically what I mean here is that yesterday I described about some terrible mistakes you might end up making if you don't really understand about the placement of the script keyword, like when you fetch the JS, which might significantly slow down your site. Yesterday I also gave an example of how you drop a heavy load on a flatten out in a city and everything, like very deep example of that. And also I gave you a solution of you can basically add it at the very end, the script keyword. You fetch the JavaScript only at the very end, like end of the body, not even in the top of the body, like at the end of the body. But to solve this issue, to ensure this is only fetched at the very end, you can use this event called window.onload event, so that it makes sure that entire site and all the resources are first loaded, only then the JavaScript is dropped, right? So basically this thing makes sure that that happens. So other thing I learned is what is and how to update and create new DOM elements and deeper into DOM. So I've been talking about DOM since few days, but let's get deeper into what DOM is. So DOM elements, DOM is basically like a hierarchical structure. It's more like a tree. So your HTML elements are basically nodes in there, and DOM elements are literally bricks are to the building, right? So they are a building blocks to your site. They are small little parts that make up your site. That's how you basically have to have it in your head. That's what DOM elements are. And how to create a new DOM element via JavaScript. Before I say that, I would like to say that I'm going to use lots of syntax words here, lots of language specific keywords, what have you. And I would like to say that you don't need to memorize any of this, because you just don't have to, and you'll end up forgetting it after you close up the video. So you just don't need to memorize any of the syntax. I myself don't. I'm looking at the screen right now, and we have all these 15 different GPTs and there's chatbots and copilots here and there. They are the ones to be memorizing for us, and we just don't need to memorize it. This is not university, this is not school. We are here to build things that will make the difference. So just we are focusing on that and not memorizing something total bullshit. So how to create a new DOM element? We do this creating a new DOM element. We do this by using different methods. The first thing we just do to create an element, you just use one method called .createElement. And let's say you want to set an attribute to that element, you do .setAttribute. Let's say you want to add an ID or a class, you use that. And to set up a main content, you use createText node. And let's say you want a placement. For the placement, you can, if you want to create a nested structure, you use .appendChild. And if you want to, let's say, put it before something, you use something called .before insert, something like that. I'm not quite sure, I need to look it up as well. I don't remember the syntax, I just don't. How to update DOM elements via JavaScript. To update something, I think in most of the programming I've done so far, to change something really, I talked about this in few days ago as well, on example of clicking a link and how you send a request to access a resource. And there are two different types of resource: collective resource, singular resource. And you're basically requesting access to that resource. And to update something or change something, to post something, you have to first have access. And understanding that like if I want to update DOM elements as well, I'll have to first access it. To access it, what we do is use the dot get element by ID. Again, this is just a syntax, this is just a method, and basic understanding of that we need to first access it is enough. And other thing is that you can like basically directly change or update the modifications you want to have. Like basically you don't, there's no middle syntax. You're just like, let's say you set up that accessed element in a variable, and you can just change all the modification you want to have, like dot, let's say you want to change the source dot src, change it right there directly. Directly seems pretty much of a common sense. But so other thing I learned is how to change CSS based DOM elements. It is pretty much same. Basically you access the element. Again, to change something you have to first access it, then you use one keyword that is pretty easy to remember, dot style, because cascading style sheets, CSS, right? So it makes pretty much sense that you use that dot notation and use dot style and whatever you want to change. Let's say dot style dot background, dot style dot color, dot style dot margin, dot border, what have you, whatever you want to change, you can do it. And the other thing I learned is the difference between node list and HTML collection, right? So I think the biggest difference is that node list supports like a array like operations, whereas HTML collection does not. And HTML collection is more about only HTML elements, but node list is like about like a nodes in general. And other thing I learned is how to like get like a value of an attribute, how to like set or modify the attribute, and how to remove an attribute. And these have like different their own different methods, like to create or to get a value, use dot get attribute. To like modify something, use dot set attribute. To remove an attribute, use dot remove attribute. These are all syntax again. And how to add CSS. The other thing I learned is how to add CSS to HTML programmatically. Same as I told you before, how to like change like CSS based elements. You use dot style. There's like built-in like a method with a dot notation. Whatever you want to change, like dot style dot color, dot style dot background, that's how you do it. So other thing I learned is how to create new DOM elements. Just to create it, you just use one method, that's dot like I don't remember it myself, dot create element. I just don't remember the syntax. I just know what it does, but I just don't remember it. So the way to create a DOM element is by using like different syntax. The first one, the only one, just to create it, you just need one dot create element. And to set up like a main content, use dot text content. And for the placement, so for the placement, there are like different methods, like a dot append child if you want to create like a nest like structure, and if you want to place it before something, before insert. And for the syntax issue, like remembering the syntax, if you for not all of them make sense, but for most of them, because it's in English, if you just like read it, like give a little bit attention to it, it makes sense, right? Like dot style, because you are trying to make CSS related changes, because CSS stands for cascading style sheets, right? So you're making some styling changes, so dot style makes sense. It is pretty easy to remember. And also if you want to put it before something, dot before insert, I want to insert before something, makes sense, right? Pretty easy to remember. But again, you just don't need to remember, so why would you remember it, right? So other thing I learned is how to remove an elements from a DOM. It is the most complicated thing in the world. You just use one method. That's all about it. And these are the few things I was able to learn today. I would say that today flew by really fast, and was an amazing day, great day, like every single day. And I like tomorrow is going to be a heck lot of more fun, and going to do something really cool, maybe build something right now. And that's all about it. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Stay hard.